besties, it's Carrie, and today I thought I would show you how to make Minnie ears. I'm making Minnie ears for opening day of Festival of the Arts happening on January 12th. But of course you guys can use all the tips that I'm showing you to make ears for whenever your trip is. So have fun. For this project you will need a glue gun, glue sticks, fabric, stuffing, cardboard, a couple pairs of scissors. It's nice to have scissors that can cut fabric easily, a headband, a marker, and something to trace around that's round. It's the perfect size for Minnie ears. Begin by tracing around your lid 4 separate times so that you create 4 cardboard circles. Using scissors, cut each circle out of the cardboard. After you've cut the circles out, you will need to figure out where you want them placed on your headband, and then trace the curve. Cut the almond shape out of the cardboard, and then you'll be using this as a template to cut the rest of your circles. This is the fabric that I chose to make my ears out of. I thought that the fun neon colors reminded me of the logo colors for Festival of the Arts, and just the little silver pattern kind of reminds me of the triangles on the ball. This is the back side of the fabric, and so basically you're gonna place one of your cardboard ears where you want specifically the pattern on the back side then of your fabric to show when you're wearing them. And then I cut a square or rectangle, leaving about 1/2 inch around the sides. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be getting glued on the other side. Next, just use that square as a template and cut 3 more so that you have 4 total. You're also going to want to cut the material for your headband. So I line up the bottom edge of my headband with the edge of the fabric, and then I just roll it around like this so I know the length to cut it to. Once you remove the headband, cut the fabric, I would say 1 inch to 1.25 inch thickness, depending on how thick your headband is. And then if you can see, my headband tapers out, so it's thicker up here and thinner down here. And because of that, I like to just fold my headband fabric in half, and then I'll just cut along here and here and taper it there. That way there's not a lot of extra fabric on the headband. So I'm gonna start by just putting a little bit of glue just on one side of the headband, and then I'm just going to stretch the fabric over, and then I'm going to repeat that on the other side, just doing a little bit by a little bit. That way you're not going to make the fabric uneven as you start gluing. When you've reached this step where you've covered your entire headband, I like to put a little bit of glue on just the ends here, and then I'll hold it shut just to give it a more finished look. And if you have extra fabric, cut it off first and then just put a little glue. All right, so at this point, this is what my headband looks like. I am loving this fabric that I chose. Honestly, it's like Lisa Frank perfection. So I hope that whatever fabric you guys chose, you're liking what you're seeing so far. All right, so now we're gonna get started on the ears. Again, the most important part is that your fabric is turned upside down, so the pattern is facing your table, and then we're just sticking the ear right in the middle. And I like to start right here with my glue. I don't think it really matters, but I only go maybe an inch at a time, sticking down my fabric and pulling it tight. Okay, so I zoomed in a bit for you guys, but again, I'm just kind of inching along with my glue gun, putting down the glue, then pulling my fabric tight and sticking it down. I've finished gluing around the ear, but it's important to know not to glue around this curved portion because we're gonna leave it open so that we can stuff each ear. This is what it looks like from the front side. And now we just have to make 3 more. So now that I have the 4 ears made, it's time to stuff. And sometimes I use a pencil or a pen to help me get the stuffing all the way down towards the bottom edges. But you just want to stuff it so that there's a thin and even layer. I have to say it's definitely easier to work with fabrics that have stretch to them, like stretch velvet or a stretch jersey cotton material. I know the quilting cotton fabrics have a lot of fun Disney patterns, but they are a bit more difficult to work with, just to let you know. And once I have adequate stuffing in there, I just kind of flatten it out, see where I'm at and see what looks good. And then once I'm happy with it, I will just go ahead and put a little bit more glue and seal it off. At this point, we are gonna glue our 2 sides of our ears together to create 1 ear. And so for that, I just put a few dabs of hot glue down, and then I'm just gonna conjoin the other ear, making sure that the sides feel even and that the curvature down here is also gonna be even, because that's gonna ensure that the ear fits nice and tightly on your headband. So I'm gonna show you guys a trick. I know a lot of other makers will just glue their ears like this, and then they'll put ribbon or some kind of rickrack or something on the edge here, but that's not what we're gonna do. To give your ears a more finished look, you're gonna go in just on the edge and put more hot glue, and then you're gonna hold it as tightly as possible to one another to create that seamless edge. And because the glue is hot, I hold it just closely together while the glue is cooling, and then once it'll be cool enough for my fingertips, I'll squeeze all the way shut. Once you do that, you'll have a little edge of glue. I just kind of rip it off, or you can cut it off with scissors, but you just have to be very careful not to cut the fabric itself. And then see how it creates a much nicer seam. All right, and then all you have to do is go around the rest of the ear, repeating this step. And if there is a spot on the edge of your ears that you don't like, or that there's a bit of glue, you can go ahead and go in with your glue gun and just use the hot tip to melt down that glue so that it's smooth. And now once both sides have been glued together like that, we're just gonna fill in with glue this bottom seam here so that we create the smoothest surface possible to adhere to our headband. All right, and now it's just time to repeat what we just did for that ear for our other ear. All right, so I just finished with the second ear. I'm gonna again fill this bottom seam with more glue. And then while we let these cool, we can start on the bow. Okay, so for the bow, we want a square, maybe, I never measure, but maybe 5 inches by 5 inches. We'll cut that. And then we will need the middle part that cinches the bow together. And I would say that's maybe 1.25 inches by maybe 3 inches, like so. I just lightly glue each side so that when we fold it over, it's just gonna have a nice clean edge. And I'll show you what I mean in just one moment. So again, we're just gonna glue the edge over like so. So then we have a nice clean edge here and here when we're cinching that bow together. We are gonna place our piece of fabric with the pattern side up. And then we are gonna run a line of glue down this side and fold it in half. And then we're gonna run a line of glue on the other side here as well. Essentially, we're forming kind of like a pillowcase or a pocket that we're also gonna stuff. And now we're gonna go in with a bit more glue up this side, stopping here at this point. And then we're gonna go in with more glue as well and stopping at this point. So now that this is cool, you can see we have an opening here, and we're gonna flip the fabric inside out to show our pattern. All right, so now that we have it turned inside out and finger pressed, this is what it looks like. And we're just going to stuff it very, very lightly. And the most important part is just making sure that the stuffing is going all the way out there to the far corners. Then we'll stuff the middle. Okay. And then we'll glue the bow shut. Now, typically a bow is cinched in the middle, and to give a little bit more emphasis on that, what we're gonna do is first pinch the fabric right here in the middle. We're gonna put a dab of glue here. We're gonna pinch another section further down and hold it together. And then we're gonna do the same down here, grabbing a small section and pinching it together, and then holding it until it cools. All right, and now we're gonna actually cinch our bow using the piece that we had created earlier by just securing the edge down here and wrapping it around. Now that we have the bow, it's time to assemble the ears. And so, first I like to look at the front and the back of the ears to decide what colors I might want on the front. And I'm thinking these because the bow is green and orange. We should have some blue and some purple. So I like to put glue in 3 separate lines down the middle, down over here, and on the other side. But you just have to make sure not to put too much glue because it's gonna start squeezing out as you hold the ears on your headband, and then it just gives it a messy overall appearance. So, okay. So when that looks good, then you're ready to just hold it together until it cools. All right, and then we're just gonna do that with the other side as well, putting a strip of glue down the middle and on either side. I like to kind of eyeball it, leaving 1.25 1.5 inches between the ears, and also making sure that the bottom edge of each of the ears match up to one another on the headband. Next, we're gonna glue on the bow by putting a dab of glue on either side and one in the middle on the headband. Okay, so this is the finished product. This is what they look like. I think we did a pretty good job. Now let me show you what they look like on. All right guys, so this is the final look. I think they look great and I truly can't wait to wear them to the parks. And if you like this tutorial, please follow and subscribe for more DIYs like this.